depth for us with that. When a client launches
Yeah.
or submits the paper in the submission box of a complaint or query or comment, what is the process? How long does it take? And how is that feedback channeled?
All right, thank you. We have to realize that we call it, in short, it's the GCS, so the Government Communication System. So the GCS is a tool which we are using to solicit feedback from our clients.
Yeah.
So what happens is, once the feedback is received, we are now able to gauge what is the perception of the people out there. So since it's a means to an end, we will not stop there. So this information, we have trained our public relations officers. So we have gone to great lengths as OPM and to train our public relations officers within the offices, ministries and agencies, as well as the regional councils. We have gone physically into the regions and train some of the PROs. So the PROs would then become a conduit in terms of the information that they will be collecting.
Yeah.
So this information that is being collected will now have to be compiled. So whether it's through the suggestion boxes or the online platform, they will now collect the information and compile the information. So this information cannot be sorted out or addressed by the PRO. So I want to emphasize that. The PRO is not responsible for the issues of the ministry to sort it out.
Yeah.
That's why you have a management within the offices, ministries, agencies and regional councils, as well as platforms like management meetings where these issues will then be tabled. So the PRO will then take this information and take it to this particular platform. So the issues that will be raised through the platforms. So you can imagine there will be a myriad of things. If we look at the Ministry of Home Affairs, it could be about passports, it could be about death certificates and so on and so forth. So if there is a particular issue that is being raised, let's say, like Sally said, there are now, you have suggestions, we have compliments, options for compliments, and then also complaints. So let's say if there is a complaint about a specific service, people talk about IDs or passports. Once this issue is then tabled in a management meeting, the people responsible for that specific issue, let's say the passport control or passport issuing, ID issuing, they will then take up the issue. And then they will then come up with a way and means to solve this issue. So it doesn't stop there. So the PRO will then still continue to compile this information. So if the issue is being addressed, we have templates. Yeah. So apart from the actual form, we also have a reporting template where this information will then be put in. And once this information is put there, we from the Office of the Prime Minister requires from the PROs to submit quarterly reports. So we will then have all this information at our disposal in terms of what happens there. So the idea is not just to raise concerns. That is not the main aim. The idea is to raise the concerns, address the concerns, and try to solve the issues that people are struggling with. So my colleague mentioned that people want to be heard. Yeah. So this system goes a long way in trying to address that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hansen. Ms. Kaswana, if you can move back to you. I think we've heard what happens really with the feedback given in suggestion boxes. Can you maybe demonstrate to us and just run us through what happens to the feedback that is received online or through the online system?
Thank you very much. So basically, the information that is on the system is not only the one that people are entering from the online side, also the one that are being coming through the suggestion box. Yeah. So it's the duty of the PRO to capture them on the system so that they can be reflected equally with the one that are coming online. I just wanted to highlight on that one before I can move on. And then on the reporting of this issue, it's more on the system has a tool whereby you can pull reports. So there's various reports on the system whereby you can, the one that the OMAS can access and the RCs, and the one that is available to the Office of the Prime Minister alone. So there's a list of reports there that are being generated, if I can read them. There's a communications received and the response. So if the people have submitted their communications, it's easy to pull out the queries that you have received through the systems and give it to management, for example, to emphasize on and demonstrate on. So this is what you are seeing on the screen is basically the administration part of the system after all the feedback received has been captured. And then there's a part where you can access OMA's report and OPM reports on the system. And then from there, you can be pulling those reports. And then you can also assess how the ministry is performing based on this report by frequent ratings, for example, like with the Ministry of Home Affairs. You can easily check how are they performing. How often do they resolve issues? Do they have open issues, closed issues? As you can see there, the issues are being classified. So the type of reports that you can see there on the screen is basically, on the left side, the OMAs and RCs. This is the individual OMAs pulling those reports to see what they have received, what they have resolved, what are the total pending cases, and all the communications received. And for the Office of the Prime Minister, basically, is to pull out all the reports from all the ministries and be able to view and be able to oversee what has been resolved and not been resolved from the issues that have been received, both online and via the suggestion box that have been captured by the PROs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ms. Busalelo, do you want to add on that?
Yes, I would just like to emphasize what happens to the feedback. All OMAs and RC, we appointed what we call focal persons. Yeah. And we chose the PROs because we know public relation officers, they are the ambassadors of the institutions. So they were appointed as focal persons. So once feedback is received from the different platforms, it's their responsibility to compile a report. Yeah. And this report should be compiled on a monthly basis and presented to management of the particular institution. Now, the management of that particular institution is required to come up with remedial actions or decisions with regards to feedback received. If there are complaints that they've received, the management should come up with decisions and solutions to what they have received. So on a quarterly basis, as my colleague Mr. Hansen has highlighted earlier, is that also as Office of the Prime Minister, we require these OMAs and RCs to give report to us on a quarterly basis. This will inform OPM and see what are the pending issues that our ministries are facing and what OPM can do in that regard. In our department, once we receive quarterly reports, we also compile a report to Cabinet and highlight certain issues with regards to service delivery for the decision makers to look into these things so that we can improve public service. Thank you so much.
Ms. Carlo, if I could move to you. How did this initiative really contribute towards the service delivery in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security?
I'm very happy to state that since the introduction or the implementation of the platform, being it the government communication system, suggestion box, and customer service care, we really see that our service has improved dramatically. And we really see that most of the clients, they are also coming forth and give us their testimony. For example, in the area of the passport, we see most of the time that customers saying that I apply for my passport today, the next day I got it already. That is the turnaround time has really changed, and that is a good sign. So we see also that I think providing accurate and timely information, it really saved the ministry a lot. Because once we receive those concerns from our clients, we act quickly upon them and we gather information. Yeah. Once we gather the information, of course, our ED will approve them and we give to them. So the Ministry of Home Affairs, it's really see that our service really changed and improved to a better one, because we know that in the past we have clients who have been complaining about our service here and there. But to date, I am challenging people there to say, really they must tell the truth and say, yes, our service has really improved through because we are using those platforms.
Thank you so much, ma'am. If you're just joining us now, welcome to the Government Information Center, where we are discussing the government communication system as a whole. we've really looked at what the role of the APM is in implementing the government system. We have looked at what is the rationale behind the government communication system. We've looked at what the different responsibilities are of the PROs, of the different ministries and government offices. And we had a demonstration, really, a practical demonstration showing us as Namibian citizens how we can launch our feedback on the online system. And we've also briefly discussed the suggestion boxes that are available in every single ministry, how those suggestion boxes work, how they're effective, and how feedback is channeled. So we'd like to hear from you as well. Please call in. The call-in number is 061 400 397, 061 400 397. And if you're watching on any of our online or social media platforms, be it Facebook or YouTube, please pop down your comments in the comment section. We'd like to hear what you have to say. Mr. Hansen, if I have to move over back to you. So the communication system, really what I'm understanding now is that it's really geared towards promoting effective governance. What would you say are some areas that need improvement, and how does OPM plan to go about it?
Yeah, no, Philip, there's always room for improvement. So we have, over the course of the years that we have been institutionalizing the system, we have noticed that there are a lot of room for improvement. But I want to emphasize at this point that the system is working. The system is working. People can go onto the platforms, they can give their ideas, and there will be a response. So the only thing maybe that we can talk about, the uptake. So we as civil servants, and I'm talking now about people working in government, it's not only the PRO that is an ambassador, but we are all ambassadors of government, and therefore we should have the ideals of government at heart. So apart from systems that we have in place, if someone approaches an office and that person asks a question, where can I find A or B? That person should be able to respond. So what we have done with the government communication system is we have institutionalized. So there is something that works and people can use this. It's also a way, the fact that people can give feedback also helps us as government. So you can influence the plans of government. If you see that something is not working, you can give comments, and those comments will then be sent through to the right platforms. And then so by doing this, you can also have an influence in the way government is operating. We are not know-it-alls, so we are open for suggestions, and that's why we have this system. If we are a closed government, we would not have had this system. We would have closed down all the avenues of communication, but this platform is there, so we want the ideas of the citizenry. So from my colleagues and my side is just the uptake. So we have to respond to people's queries. Sometimes I sit in the office and people call me and they ask something from me that is not part of my responsibility. So then I must direct that person to say, no, we are not dealing with pensions or whatever the case may be, but let me direct you to my colleague. So that's the things that we need to do. So the improvement is the uptake from the individuals that are put in place. So we are talking about the PROs, but it's not only the PROs. Management should be ready to receive comments and to make adjustments where needed.
All right. Sorry for cutting you short, Mr. Hansen.
Sure.
You're talking about calling. We have a call online. Good afternoon, Mr. Tati.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thank you. Sorry, ma'am. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I actually have a question, either to Mr. Hansen, I believe. My question is, what had been their observations in terms of attitude and reception since the implementation of the government communication system? How had it been, especially to OMAs, where we have seen that we have a lot of, I wouldn't want to say elderly, but senior individuals in high positions, how had they been receiving the system and whether they have been eager to take up the challenges that comes with the government communication system in terms of the feedback that they received, the comments, the questions. How had it been for them?
Sorry, ma'am, can you just repeat that again?
I would want to find out what had been their observation in terms of attitude and reception since the implementation of the government communication system, in short.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Mr. Hansen, this question was directed specifically to you, but I'll open it up to the floor if anyone wants to get or give additions to the question. Ms. Doctor was asking what has been the observation in terms of the implementation of the communication system. How have, in my understanding, has it been successful?
Yeah.
Is there a way we can measure its success? Has there been a difference compared to before there was a system and now that the system has been implemented?
All right. Thank you for the question. In terms of measuring the effectiveness, I mentioned in the beginning that we are busy with the institutionalization process. So that means that it will be done over time. So the good thing that we have seen is I can track comments. You know, I've seen the comments. There's comments on there's SMSs in the newspaper, but I don't know who addresses these issues. So here you have a platform where I can see, all of us can have access to the system, and we can see what are the queries and the comments and the issues are that people are raising. So that is the first one. So it's transparent. So people cannot hide the comments that are being received. That's the first one. The second one is we can keep track. Even the PROs and other individuals in the OMAs that are working with the system, they can report and keep track of the issues that are being raised. For instance, my colleague, Ms. Kasauna, mentioned about the reports. If all the information is added onto the online system, the automated system, automatic reports can be printed. So you can even justify, let's say, if you are in the business of addressing issues. So there was an issue on there was a specific issue being raised. You can pull that report and say, this was the issue, this is how we address the issue. So there's a lot of transparency and also responsiveness with the system. But in terms of before and after, I think we will only be able to measure that once it is fully institutionalized. So I've mentioned that we've gone around, we've done the legwork of going to the regions, training people and saying, this is the system, please, we need uptake. So yeah, it should be better than it was before, and we have a shining example with Home Affairs that are making use of this system. So we already have a success story. So there already we can say that there has been an improvement.
Thank you, sir. We are nearing the end of our discussion. Ms. Piswalelo, I know you're also very passionate about what was asked by the caller. I'd like you to just also give inputs on it, and with that, perhaps also just include your final or concluding remarks.
Thank you very much. For me, the system has been effective. When we're engaging the ministries and RCs, like I've mentioned earlier, we had positive responses. They experienced what they experienced before. There is a particular ministry where people were complaining through their suggestion boxes that people only come to that particular office and find a security guard. And that security guard was unable to direct them to the right offices where they were supposed to get the services. So once this particular ministry received this type of feedback, it was taken up to management. And as we speak now, that particular ministry have employed a receptionist there, or an administrative officer, who's acquainted with the officer's environment and who's able to direct people. And then a number of ministries also reported to us during our engagement in last year. We had a training workshop in Ochvarongo last year. Some ministries have managed to stop corruption cases through this system. Somebody, an anonymous person, walked in this particular ministry, and then they put their feedback in the suggestion box. So the PRO picked up all this feedback that they received from there, and it was presented to management. And then management took a look and investigated the matter, and indeed they stopped a corruption case. This system is effective. I'm calling the people out there, or the public out there, the use of our government services to come and give us feedback. Like I've mentioned earlier, we have gray areas we want to improve as government. Come and give us feedback. My final remarks will be the Harambee Prosperity 1 and 2 advocates for effective governance. And effective governance at the end of the day is all about service delivery. How do we deliver services as government? So I'm calling the people out there to come and give us feedback, to inform, like I've said, about decision makers, so we can change the way we do things as government in order for us to achieve that pillar of effective governance under the Harambee Prosperity 1 and 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Speaking of successes, we have a comment from one of our viewers on social media, really just congratulating Home Affairs in how service delivery is really improved. So I think we must commend the work that the ministry is doing in OPM as a whole. Ms. Kaiswana, any final remarks from your side?
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to encourage the viewers that the platform is there. It's available for everybody. Every Namibian citizen is welcome to give their remarks, their views on how we can improve the government service delivery, their comments, any suggestions, anything like my colleague Salis highlighted here. And I can easily say that you can just go take your mobile phone. All you need is data. You just type any ministry that you want to launch a complaint to, and then you just click on the feedback button. You can easily access it via your phone, a laptop. So this one is not even limited to citizens only, even employees in governments and any other organization, businesses, stakeholders. Yeah. They can lay their issues there, and then we can really they can be well received and attended to. Thank you.
Ms. Carlo?
Yeah.
And what do you make of the congratulation message?
I think it's the deserving one because we see the change. We really see the improvements through the system that we just discussed today. Yeah. And I can really say that the clients out there, for us at Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security, we believe that we are existing because of the clients. Without the clients, there is no need for us to be in those offices because there will be no one to serve. So we can only, my final remarks, I can only say that visit the Ministry of Home Affairs anywhere in the region. If you encounter any problem, being suggestion, being comments or anything, please just click on that button we discussed. Put your complaint in the suggestion box or just really contact us. We are here to serve you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Mr. Hansen, quick, short, final remarks from your side.
All right. No, thank you, Philip. Yeah, from my side, I think a lot has been said. I would like to also thank my colleagues, DPS ITM. So it's a sister department within the Office of the Prime Minister. They have been our head and shoulders when it comes to the system. They are the technical people. They have not been lazy or haphazard in terms of helping us. They've been there all the way. I want to thank them for supporting us. I also want to congratulate my colleagues. I myself have been to the office, and it's we have to be honest with ourselves. The ministry have come on in leaps and bounds, and you can see the perception out there has changed. So well done to them. And the challenge is there from Ministry of Home Affairs. For those who want to improve the services, want to change the face of government, there's a shining example. Please try to challenge them. And also for the Center MICT, we are grateful that we could be here and that we could share about the system. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you much, Mr. Hansen. So thank you, Namibia. That's all we had for you today. Thank you for tuning in. This session was really informative, really to show you as a citizen how you can launch your complaint or give feedback or giving congratulation messages where that is due. So to my panel, thank you for joining us this great afternoon. To all the viewers, thank you for tuning in, and we wish you a happy Easter. Goodbye.